contacts, personal emails, personal network of people, and all your relationships to them, again, with your permission. So imagine, since now I've given permission to Google, permission knows who I am, as I wander the streets of Munich, my phone is the perfect walking companion. It knows where I've been, it knows what I care about, it suggests things. I happen to like airplanes, and so it says, did you know that there's a Hansa jet here at the local museum? You would like that. Talk about personal service. Pretty interesting. And it can also understand what I mean. When I say, what's the weather like? Am I saying, should I wear a raincoat? Or am I saying, do I need to water the plants? So you can go from syntax to semantic, from words to meaning, if you know more about the person with their permission, with them signing into it. And so the sum of that is that search continues to be very important. And the mobile opportunity is just as large. The Android platform, which you all know about, is selling more than 300,000 activations per day. That number is growing very quickly, and the current number is quite a bit higher than that. And the numbers, so you know, are 145 devices, 27 OEM partners, 169 carriers, and 96 countries. So it's very much a global phenomenon. What's interesting is that the device searches that we see have grown by a factor of 10 on Android in 1 year. Shows you how powerful this model really is. Chrome, people know about the Chrome browser, and you may have used that. Getting a lot of momentum, has more than 120 million active users, up 3 times in the past year. Again, growth rate faster than everybody else. And the release is also 6 times faster than the one that we released 2 years ago. So again, you have a combination of speed and reach, which we think is how these platforms get things. And what's interesting about the browser, why am I talking about browser in the context of this revolution? A deeper integration with the browser allows for more autonomy. Historically, the browsers that you all use, are not full-fledged platforms of what we would like them to be. But there have been technical breakthroughs in the software architecture which allow you now to build extremely powerful dynamic applications that are browser resident. The technical name for this is called HTML5, and there's a set of libraries and so forth that are now being brought out in the industry. So it's true for all of the browser uses and all the browsers that adopt HTML5. A few more things about how this plays out. I've talked about technology and people, I haven't talked about money. The other component, of course, of these is the large markets and large, in our case, advertising markets that could be aggregated. It's interesting that YouTube, for example, is taking 35 hours of video uploaded every minute. Think about it. You'll never watch it. You'll never watch it all. It's hard for us to watch it all to make sure it's appropriate. More than 2 billion views per day. But our business is also booming, right? We have something more than 2 billion monetized views per week in YouTube. At the scale of YouTube, this is a very large audience business. Our display business, another aspect of our business, has more than 2 million publisher partners and is fast on its way to being a very, very large business for Google. So my point is that you not only do you need to have a computer architecture, a consumer architecture, and sort of a value that you're offering, but you also need to have a monetization platform. So let me see if I can put this into some context for how this is going to play out. When you look at innovation, and you look at innovation historically, it's pretty clear that the internet is probably the greatest disruptor of all time. It's certainly in the league with some of the key inventions over the last 100 years. You know, the Schumpeter quote is, capitalism inevitably leads to a perennial gale of creative destruction. Right? We all sort of understand this. And the interesting thing about the internet is that it has replaced the economics of scarcity with the economics of abundance. Now, the economics of scarcity have to do with the ability to have pricing power, you hold things back, you restrict them, you have subscriptions, so forth and so on. The economics of abundance are that you're everywhere. You're everywhere all the time, and you count it one by one. Now, why is this true? It's not some mad plot. It has to do with the technology. Because the marginal cost of distribution on the internet, because of the compounding investment that's been made, is so low. And it's going through industry after industry after industry. These are very hard problems. I don't want to make it any easier. And imagine a situation, a good example. The Australians, who are very far away, the way to understand them, and they're a very large country, have just announced a policy that 93% of the citizens of Australia within the next 4 years will have fiber to their home and office. That fiber technically is capable of running at least a gigabit per second. The 93% has to do with the 7% that are in very rural areas. It's hard to reach them with fiber. But most countries, including all the ones we live in, are pretty city-centric, and so you can do this in the cities. What does it mean to have a gigabit per second connection? It means that every distinction that you think of in terms of media distribution goes away. HD television, video conferencing, radio, DDR, all of those can be compressed into this single pipe. And it means that all of those economic models have to be adjusted. They don't go away, it doesn't become free or anything, I'm not suggesting that at all. But they have to change. They're sold differently. There are different economics for the producers, different disintermediation for various other players. And to me, I look at this, and this is both exciting and terrifying. Right? And it's exciting because of the scale. It is now possible to reach 1 billion people worldwide, literally every day. And many industries operate where we're going to have, 100,000 viewers or 1 million viewers. In the internet, you say, well, I want 50 million users or 100 million users. And in Google, people will come in and say this, and I say, do you have any idea how many people that is? I remember when getting a 10,000 person audience, we were like really excited, right? Shows you the scale of the world. And one of the great things about being alive today is you can be a truly global citizen and understand how pervasive humanity, how incredibly rich and interesting all of us really are. But it's also terrifying because all of this has to do with information, and information is the most powerful thing of all. And I don't know exactly how society is going to sort out all the various conflicts that are obvious. We all know what they are, whether they're privacy or incumbency or regulatory or so forth. But I do know that people care a lot about it. And that this will be the subject of a lot of discussion and a lot of both political discussion as well as moral discussion as to the society coming along. Remember what I just said. If your children are awake, they are online, which means you don't exactly know what they're doing. I don't think society has fundamentally figured out what to do about these things, and we're going to need to as a society. So I want to finish by putting this into a context. I believe that we're not at the end of something, but at the beginning of something much larger because of this platform that I just described. We understand, all of us together, we now understand how to build these large audience businesses using very powerful technology that's really, really interesting. It's just beginning based on this platform. It's not ending, which is why I want you to keep doing this conference for so long. It is because this is just literally the beginning of the implication of this in terms of humanity, which is, I think, what you and the people who put this together really care about. Now, I'm a computer scientist, so my position is computer science can help us a lot. So my bias, I guess. But computer science can solve some pretty big problems. Global warming, terrorism, financial transparency, things that we're all worried about, because those are information problems at some basic level. Right? And at information problems, we can do those at scale, we as computer scientists. So imagine a future where the following things are true. And by the way, this is a pretty near future. This is not a long time from now. You don't forget anything. I forget everything, right? You don't forget anything, because computers remember everything. They remember, again, with your permission. So I have to add that. Where you've been, what you did, they keep your pictures around, so forth and so on. Did I like that hotel? Yeah, I stayed there a little while ago. No, I didn't like that. I didn't like the food. I like this food over here. I like that memory. Yeah, that person was over there. I'm going to walk over there. On and on and on. It remembers everything. Okay? With your permission. Another thing is, has anyone been lost recently? I used to love to get lost. Wandering around, not having an idea where I was, Eventually you get found. It's terrible. You cannot get lost anymore. Everyone here carries their mobile phone. Everyone with a mobile phone has Google Maps or one of the competitors, and you know exactly where you are, down to the foot. You know your position down to the foot. And by the way, so do your friends, with your permission. Now, what can you do with that? Well, computers can predict whether you're going to meet your friend or not as you walk. with your permission. Now, people who love the Earth can love it much more. I've been surprised at how powerful the Google Earth phenomenon is in terms of the things that we now can know about the Earth. And I think it's obvious if you think about it, everyone here cares about it a great deal. We have the ability now to know exactly what's happening everywhere all the time, whether it's geologic or people or so forth and so on. It's pretty important. So as we face the very significant threat of climate change, which we know is real, and we have to deal with it in some way, right? We've got a way of having a conversation that's fact-based. You can have all the information in the world at your fingertips, and the important thing is it's in your own language, right then and there. It's never been possible before. So I didn't quite understand how powerful that was until you saw the development of what is Wikipedia, which is sort of one of the great inventions of mankind now, and all of the ancillary services that we all use. By the way, you know what to pay attention to right now, because we'll help you sort it out. Knowing what you care about, because there's so much stuff coming at you. We can help suggest this, suggest that, as you wish. You're never lonely, right? When you're traveling, you're never lonely, right? Because there's always somebody to talk to online. Your friends travel with you now, on your instant messaging, status, Facebook, and what have you. There's always somebody to speak to and send a picture, and here I am, running around at the DLD conference or whatever, and to post about. And by the way, you're never bored, right? So not only you're never lonely, you're never bored. Instead of wasting time watching television, you waste your time being online, right? And time wasting is a well-known human activity that we all engage in. Games, movies, videos, and of course we can help you choose which ones you want. And you're never out of ideas. In fact, we can suggest, based on what you do, and again, what you care about, and with your permission, what you could do next, where you could go, some new ideas for you. Imagine a world's calendar of events all there. And by the way, what is this about this car thing? It's amazing to me that they let humans drive cars. These things are very, very dangerous. Don't you think computers should drive the cars with a human sort of watching the computer? I mean, think about it. And we've done this. We took 7 Priuses, which we sort of modified without a lot of permission, and drove them over 1,000 miles, right, with a person sitting there with a button in case there was a software bug, which there was not. And now in Germany, there's a problem with our approach, because the software engineers won't let the car go faster than the speed limit. So I don't know how we're going to do on the Autobahn, but the fact of the matter is that it makes more sense to have the autopilot in the car be a computer that knows the map, sees what's real time's going on, and let the human sort of monitor it. More people will be alive, which is a pretty important thing in the world. And what I like the most about this, if you sort of sum, never lonely, never bored, all the information at your fingertips, this is not a vision of the elites. Historically, these kinds of technologies have been available to the elites and not for the common man. And if there was a trickle down, it would be a generation or a decade or 100 years. Information has historically been kept to the elites for various reasons. Hard to get at, difficult to understand, and so forth. This is a vision that is accessible to every single person on the planet. Now, so to the degree that we're all a member of a highly educated Western elite, we're going to be amazed at how smart and capable all those people are who did not have access to our standard of living, our universities, and our culture. And when they come, they're going to teach us things that we didn't know. And they are coming, and I'm very excited about that. The numbers are that there are on the order of 1 billion smartphones, and the growth rate outside of our area is faster than in ours. So they're coming, and they're coming fast. And one of the great accomplishments of our generation is the lifting of a couple of billion people from poverty to middle class, mostly in Asia. We should be very, very proud of that as citizens of the world. This is our next achievement, which is to bring them into this modern world, the world that we all live in, the world that we have built, and that the world that they will change, and I think for a largely very good world. So I would argue that the future of all of us, the future of this conference, the future of what we care about, should be organized around a future of trying to do good. That this platform that's being built, that I've articulated, I think, fairly clearly, it's pretty clear to me it's going to happen. You feel it, you see it. Look at the projects that were presented here in the conference in the last 2 days. This is a future that gives people time back to do what matters, the things that they care about, ideas, intuitions, solutions, and doing what they love. And in many ways, it's a future of poetry. This is a quote from the New York Times, from William Gibson. Google has made of us a sort of coral reef of human minds and their products. I'm very, very happy to be part of this. I'm happy that we're all part of making this happen, and thank you so much for being part of it.